All right, my three. We doing good? Perfect. Hopefully you can handle a little constructive criticism better than Mindy did. I'm just joking. Uh, Honestly, my three, I don't really have much to say. Uh, great job. I think you're really, really good. I think you're a really good actress. I like you as a person. I think I've watched a lot of interviews with you. This is my first time meeting you, and you seem really, really cool. Um, I actually was on your Twitter right before this, and I saw that you did a little spiel on, or like a voice memo on pronunciation of names. I thought that's really important, particularly in our society that we live in, where a lot of Indian names get fucked up. Let's be real. I mean, I did a whole segment on all the various names that I've been called throughout the years. So I appreciate you bringing that issue to light, particularly with your platform. I really think you did a solid job with Davey. I think you made the role as best as you could with the writing that was given to you. Okay. And I don't think that's an indictment on you. I don't think anything related to Davey is an indictment on you because I think you do the best job that you possibly can with the writing and the scripts that you're given, which frankly are pretty eh. I mean, they are, right? You can't say. I respect the NDAs though. Um, but yes, I don't like your character. I really don't. And I don't know if you have a personal attachment to Davey, and that's what I was going to ask you. And I think this is a question that you should keep in mind is that you grew up in Toronto, right? And Toronto and Ontario in general has a huge Indian community for those people that don't know. And I'm sure you know this, my three. Um, do you relate to Davey? Like having grown up in such a big South Asian community. I mean, I know like the macro Toronto community is big. Maybe you grew up in a white suburb. I don't know where you grew up. I'm not stalkery like that. But do you relate to Davey on a personal level? Oh, you can't say again. Okay, that's fine. But that's a question that I think you should keep in mind is how can I bring my own personality into this character? Because I feel like a lot of times you seem very different off cam or off off the screen of Never Have I Ever. I feel like I'm looking at two different people, and I've watched a lot of interviews of you, and I've seen you on Twitter, and I've seen you here, and I've seen you there, and you're very different. You're really cool off the air. I think we would be friends in real life if we were like, if we knew each other, if I was running in the same circles that you are, but you're not. Because you're famous, and you're from Toronto, and you don't like the Warriors, but but I think that you are very different on camera, and then like from what I've seen of you in interviews, like off the show type thing. Um, and it's an interesting balance that I get you have to deal with. And I get there's a lot of pressure on you. I understand that, my three, because you are, whether you like it or not, the first South Asian woman to ever kind of reach this type of platform. To be the head of a show is no joke. And you are the main character of this South Asian show that's been pinned to South Asian show by Mindy Kaling when she pitched it, right? And since it came out on Netflix, you are the head and you're doing a great job. And congratulations to you, my three. I mean, you're set for life. Okay. You may not, I don't know how much money you're making now or whatever. I'm sure you're making a good amount of money, right out of, I think you're 18 or 19. So that's crazy. I think you're 19. So you're making a good amount of money off this show right now. I mean, I think there's big projects in your future. And I think Never Have I Ever is just kind of like your breakout show. And I think you do this for a couple more seasons, get your fame up. My questions that I have to ask you really don't have, well, they do have a little bit to relate to Davey. Is, the first question, which was you growing up in a big South Asian community, at least in the macro. How does that relate to her? How can you relate to this character personally? And the second question I have for you is how can we take your stature on Never Have I Ever, right? You've done great things, my three. You are now the token South Asian woman in Hollywood. You've taken the Dave Patel status and put it for a woman, right? You are that. If that makes any sense. You know how Dave Patel was basically put in every Indian guy role in Hollywood for 8 years. You're about to hit that status where you're about to get a bag. You're about to make a shit ton of money, playing the South Asian woman in a lot of different comedies and movies and whatnot. So congrats on securing the bag. How can you leverage Never Have I Ever? This is my question to you. How can you leverage Never Have I Ever into getting even bigger roles that may potentially make a difference? That's what is my question to you. And do you think your role right now is making a difference? I think to an extent it is. I think to an extent it's huge that there are South Asian girls that are seeing themselves on TV. Do I think that they relate to your character? Not necessarily, but I think they think it's cool that there's a brown girl who's playing on who's on a TV show, right? I think they think that's cool, right? We can agree on that. I think it's cool that there's brown girls on TV. Hell yeah, support. But how can we take the idea of you? I know that sounds weird, but how can we take you, right, Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, and bring you to a place where you're making really good, solid, relatable content for South Asians? If that's what you want to do. If you don't want to do that, then yeah, fuck, do whatever you want. But if you want to make a difference and you want to make some real South Asian content, how can we leverage that for you? How can we leverage Never Have I Ever into getting you into a bigger platform? That's going to be the next question. That's how we're going to take your career to the next level here. And my last question is very simple: is how do you connect to Baby? Because I feel like you're disconnected. There's just scenes where I feel like you're not fully in it, and that's not any like criticism at your acting. How do you connect to Davey? I'm genuinely curious because it seems like you and Davey are very different people. Davey is this completely like doesn't know what she's doing, like doesn't have her shit together, like just completely a mess. I mean, all teenagers are to a certain extent. But yeah, sorry for that motorbike back there. But how do you connect to Davey personally? And yeah, I mean, I know you can't respond to any of these questions, but I think these are things that you should keep in mind as you move on with the show. But it was great chatting with you, Maitreyi. Nice to meet you. I hope you can. Okay, great. She left. I couldn't even ask her if she wanted to come on the podcast. Shit.